The anime kicks off with our hero, Yotsuga, fighting some demons with long heads and yellow eyes. As they're beating him up, he thinks about how much he hates this city and everyone in it. Then, he stomps on one of them and smashes its head with a stick. After taking out all the demons, he savors the moment, saying that even though his life is in constant danger here, it's still a million times more exciting than that dump. Tokyo. Scene change. We see our hero in Tokyo, getting off the subway and walking to school. On the way, we can tell he's super bored with this life, having to listen to people around him talk about totally pointless stuff. After class, he overhears two students talking about a girl named Lou, who's clearly a tennis player. They mention she was scouted to be a model for a super famous company, adding that she's perfect because she's cute and has great grades. Then, two girls run past, and trying to dodge them, he trips over a table where another girl is live streaming on her phone. Our hero doesn't even apologize and just keeps walking. Later that night, he's hyped after winning a video game where you have to beat a dragon. But the joy doesn't last long. He looks at a childhood photo with his friends. Seeing the notes they wrote for him makes him happy remembering that time, but also really sad. Later, we see our hero checking out his classmate Lou's phone. Looking at her modeling pics, he admits she's like genuinely pretty. Scene change, and our hero is stuck in the classroom after school, erasing the blackboard. He finds it weird to see Lou with a girl she doesn't usually hang out with, but as he's watching them, she turns to look at him, and he gets super nervous. Then, the teacher tells him he's the only one who hasn't submitted his future plans. The teacher suggests that since he's a fast runner, he could have applied to a sports high school. However, we notice our hero is distracted because the girls are sitting at the back of the room, just staring at him. This whole situation is making him really uncomfortable, and he's wondering what they're even doing there. In response, our hero says he hasn't thought about what he wants to do in the future. The teacher tells him he can't go on like this, with no friends or anyone to talk to. Hearing this, our hero feels embarrassed, realizing the teacher knows he's a total loner. To avoid more questions, he just says he'll look for a regular high school. After the teacher leaves, our hero thinks that all he wants is to go home and play his video game. Afterward, he tells the girls he'll lock up the classroom since he's in charge, but he's shocked to realize they're already gone and has no idea when they left. Right after, our hero hears voices outside the classroom, and the blackboard starts filling up with drawings of flowers. Then, everything around him changes color. His body dematerializes, and he floats upwards. Next thing you know, he appears somewhere else, falling from the sky into a river with a giant animal in it. When he sees it, he scrambles out of the water, scared and confused, with no clue where he is. At that moment, we see the other girls looking for him. Spotting him, Lou says, "You finally made it." As our hero crawls to the shore, the other girl comes over and introduces herself automatically, saying her name is Kusu. After this, Lou warns him that a very strange man, who's missing half his head, is about to arrive. She tells him to listen, stay calm, and not judge him by his outfit. Before our hero can process what she's saying, the faceless man appears, and just as she warned, half his head is missing. The man places a hand on our hero's shoulder and introduces himself as the Game Master. Seeing him, our hero freaks out. The man immediately starts explaining the rules, saying their first mission is to complete the village chief's challenges in 14 days. He adds that they should get ready, because the monsters in this place will be ready and willing to take them out. Our hero won't stop talking, asking where they are, so Lou kicks him from behind to make him listen to the faceless guy's instructions. After that, our hero is shocked to realize he can't feel a thing. The Game Master then mentions he only has 8 steps left to complete this, and after each challenge is beaten, a new member will join the team. At that moment, we see Lou's transformation into the Wind Sorceress, then Kusu's into the Sword Warrior. The man then spins a wheel for luck to decide our hero's role. As the wheel spins, the girls are hoping he gets the warrior role. Seeing them, he asks if this choice is a big deal or something. Right then, the wheel stops on one of the least likely options, farmer. Seeing this, the girls are super disappointed. Then the Game Master says goodbye and vanishes. In a flash, our hero's clothes change, and we can see his new abilities. Scene change. The girls are explaining how they got here. Lou says she was the first to arrive. She explains that after completing the first challenge, she got to go home. And then the game master brought her back, but this time with Kusu. We see a flashback where Lou asks her to be her friend. After the flashback, Lou says the game master asked her to befriend Kusu, and when she was transported to this world for the second time, she found her there. She adds that he told her that when they returned to the real world, she had to get our hero alone. That's why they were in the classroom staring at him so weirdly while he was erasing the board and talking to the teacher. Later, the girls teach him how to use his weapons. Lou tells our hero to squint his eyes to see his weapons and move his finger to select them, just like using a phone. However, being a farmer, his only weapons are a hoe and a sickle. Both are used for farming, but they're also super sharp and can be used for, well, you know. Later on, our hero wonders if they're in a virtual world inside a video game or something. He then asks them about a mark on the ground emitting a green light. They explain that these are called logs, and they record events. Our hero puts his hand on it and sees a memory of them when Kusue first arrived and was scared to fight. Then Lou says that even though she calmed Kusu down then, when she first got there alone, she spent a whole day paralyzed with fear. Then Kusu tells our hero she feels much better having him there. After this, they discover that the demons from the beginning, the ones with long heads and yellow eyes, are hiding behind some bushes. Seeing them, she explains they're called goblins. The anime kicks off with our hero, Yotsuga, fighting some demons with long heads and yellow eyes. As they're beating him up, he thinks about how much he hates this city and everyone in it. Then, he stomps on one of them and smashes its head with a stick. After taking out all the demons, he savors the moment, saying that even though his life is in constant danger here, it's still a million times more exciting than that dump. Tokyo. Scene change. We see our hero in Tokyo, getting off the subway and walking to school. On the way, we can tell he's super bored with this life, having to listen to people around him talk about totally pointless stuff. After class, he overhears two students talking about a girl named Lou, who's clearly a tennis player. They mention she was scouted to be a model for a super famous company, adding that she's perfect because she's cute and has great grades. Then, two girls run past, and trying to dodge them, he trips over a table where another girl is live streaming on her phone. Our hero doesn't even apologize and just keeps walking. Later that night, he's hyped after winning a video game where you have to beat a dragon. But the joy doesn't last long. He looks at a childhood photo with his friends. Seeing the notes they wrote for him makes him happy remembering that time, but also really sad. Later, we see our hero checking out his classmate Lou's phone. Looking at her modeling pics, he admits she's like genuinely pretty. Scene change, and our hero is stuck in the classroom after school, erasing the blackboard. He finds it weird to see Lou with a girl she doesn't usually hang out with, but as he's watching them, she turns to look at him, and he gets super nervous. Then, the teacher tells him he's the only one who hasn't submitted his future plans. The teacher suggests that since he's a fast runner, he could have applied to a sports high school. However, we notice our hero is distracted because the girls are sitting at the back of the room, just staring at him. This whole situation is making him really uncomfortable, and he's wondering what they're even doing there. In response, our hero says he hasn't thought about what he wants to do in the future. The teacher tells him he can't go on like this, with no friends or anyone to talk to. Hearing this, our hero feels embarrassed, realizing the teacher knows he's a total loner. To avoid more questions, he just says he'll look for a regular high school. After the teacher leaves, our hero thinks that all he wants is to go home and play his video game. Afterward, he tells the girls he'll lock up the classroom since he's in charge, but he's shocked to realize they're already gone and has no idea when they left. Right after, our hero hears voices outside the classroom, and the blackboard starts filling up with drawings of flowers. Then, everything around him changes color. His body dematerializes, and he floats upwards. Next thing you know, he appears somewhere else, falling from the sky into a river with a giant animal in it. When he sees it, he scrambles out of the water, scared and confused, with no clue where he is. At that moment, we see the other girls looking for him. Spotting him, Lou says, "You finally made it." As our hero crawls to the shore, the other girl comes over and introduces herself automatically, saying her name is Kusu. After this, Lou warns him that a very strange man, who's missing half his head, is about to arrive. She tells him to listen, stay calm, and not judge him by his outfit. Before our hero can process what she's saying, the faceless man appears, and just as she warned, half his head is missing. The man places a hand on our hero's shoulder and introduces himself as the Game Master. Seeing him, our hero freaks out. The man immediately starts explaining the rules, saying their first mission is to complete the village chief's challenges in 14 days. He adds that they should get ready, because the monsters in this place will be ready and willing to take them out. Our hero won't stop talking, asking where they are, so Lou kicks him from behind to make him listen to the faceless guy's instructions. After that, our hero is shocked to realize he can't feel a thing. The Game Master then mentions he only has 8 steps left to complete this, and after each challenge is beaten, a new member will join the team. At that moment, we see Lou's transformation into the Wind Sorceress, then Kusu's into the Sword Warrior. The man then spins a wheel for luck to decide our hero's role. As the wheel spins, the girls are hoping he gets the warrior role. Seeing them, he asks if this choice is a big deal or something. Right then, the wheel stops on one of the least likely options, farmer. Seeing this, the girls are super disappointed. Then the Game Master says goodbye and vanishes. In a flash, our hero's clothes change, and we can see his new abilities. Scene change. The girls are explaining how they got here. Lou says she was the first to arrive. She explains that after completing the first challenge, she got to go home. And then the Game Master brought her back, but this time with Kusu. We see a flashback where Lou asks her to be her friend. After the flashback, Lou says the Game Master asked her to befriend Kusu, and when she was transported to this world for the second time, she found her there. She adds that he told her that when they returned to the real world, she had to get our hero alone. That's why they were in the classroom staring at him so weirdly while he was erasing the board and talking to the teacher. Later, the girls teach him how to use his weapons. Lou tells our hero to squint his eyes to see his weapons and move his finger to select them, just like using a phone. However, being a farmer, his only weapons are a hoe and a sickle. Both are used for farming, but they're also super sharp and can be used for, well, you know. Later on, our hero wonders if they're in a virtual world inside a video game or something. He then asks them about a mark on the ground emitting a green light. They explain that these are called logs, and they record events. Our hero puts his hand on it and sees a memory of them when Kusue first arrived and was scared to fight. Then Lou says that even though she calmed Kusu down then, when she first got there alone, she spent a whole day paralyzed with fear. Then Kusu tells our hero she feels much better having him there. After this, they discover that the demons from the beginning, the ones with long heads and yellow eyes, are hiding behind some bushes. Seeing them, she explains they're called goblins. Knowing they can't die, he runs towards them to attack. However, he's not successful because his weapons are too weak. Same for the girls. Lou tries to use a wind power, but it's super weak and does no damage because her combat level is still too low. Likewise, Kusu, who has the power of a warrior, tries to hit one with her sword, but she can't even scratch it. Our hero tries to pick up the sword from the ground and realizes he can't use any weapon that isn't one of his farmer tools. For this reason, he's finally convinced they're in a video game. Just then, one of the goblins hits him on the head with a club, and he passes out. He then disappears on the spot, turning into a soul, and watches his lifeless body on the ground. But Lou tells him not to worry, because when this happens, he'll revive in 30 seconds. After this, our hero asks her to help him beat the demons. With her help, he manages to stab one of the goblins, but takes another hit that eliminates him. He revives 30 seconds later, as if nothing happened. Realizing the girls are even weaker than him, he asks how they passed their first missions. The question answers itself when we're shown what they did, which was basically just hiding from the goblins, very badly, Then he asks what happens if all three of them die at the same time. Lou replies that if that happens, they'll die in real life too. Later, it's nighttime, and they're around a campfire. He realizes that the areas they visit can be seen on the map. He also sees that broken weapons take several days to repair before they can be used again. Then he asks what the reward is for completing these missions. Lou replies that after each mission, you earn the right to ask the Game Master one question. In the first mission, he told her she was there because someone she knows requested it. In the second, Kusu asked where he came from, and he answered that he's from the distant future. After this, our hero offers to take the first watch. Then, in a scene change, while he's looking at the demons' lifeless bodies, he thinks about what he needs to ask the Game Master when he gets the chance. But at that moment, he hears the girls calling him. When he gets there, he sees Kusu on the ground, split in half. Right after, a giant monster appears, shaped like a dog with a human body, holding the other girl in its hand. She yells at him to run, since they can't beat it with their weak powers. Then, the monster rips her head off with its teeth. Seeing this, our hero panics, thinking that if he dies, they'll all die in real life. So, he grabs Kusui's arm and drags her away so she can revive in 30 seconds, hopefully in a safe spot. The next day, we see the girl is okay, but her arm hasn't regenerated. She figures it must be because the monster ate it. Then they realize the other girl won't be coming back, since her head was ripped off and, well, eaten. Our hero then looks at his skills and attack stats, which are super low, making it impossible to defeat the monster. Scene change. They arrive at a village where they're welcomed as heroes. Kusue explains that for some reason, people here call them that. Then we see our hero feeling embarrassed as kids come up to them saying they want to be heroes like them when they grow up. But he's thinking his power is just a lame farmer class, and also, these kids have no idea one of them already got eaten. Later, they talk to the village chief, who asks them to defeat the troll that's been roaming the area. He shows them drawings, and yep, it's the same monster that took out their friend. So, our hero decides to go level up to get more powerful. But the girl says she wants to help too. He tells her she'd better stay in the village since she almost died and would just cause more trouble. Then, our hero leaves with a satisfied look on his face, thinking that even if his life is in danger, this place is 1,000,000 times more exciting than that dump, Tokyo. Then, a flashback. We see him with Kusue, drinking water from the river. She asks him if he's decided which high school he wants to go to, since she overheard the teacher talking about it that day. But he still has no clue what he wants for his future. Back to the present, he goes out at night to hunt goblins to raise his level. He remembers the village chief asked them to kill the troll in the forest. He thinks that with his current level, it's impossible to beat it, and if he tries, he could end up getting eaten just like his friend. So, first he needs to take out small monsters to level up. He then finds another log mark on the ground. Touching it, he sees a conversation the girls had before he arrived. Lou asks Kusu who she'd want as the next team member. She replies that she hopes it's not a guy because she hates them for talking about gross stuff and being super annoying. Scene change, Lou says she would like it to be a guy and mentions she likes Yotsuya. Hearing this, our hero gets super excited. But he quickly remembers there's another guy at school with the same name who's a soccer player and way more popular. Just as the girl is about to reveal which one she's talking about, the log disappears. After this, our hero thinks he has a 50-50 chance they're talking about him. He then says it's likely one of the girls will confess to him later on. He gets to a high place with a view of the village, but at that moment, he runs into some goblins and decides to attack them. As he's hitting them with his stick, he has flashbacks to when he was a kid in his hometown and had to move to the big city. He remembers his first day of school when the other kids made fun of him. Just then, he manages to kill the goblins, but one gets away. He checks his skills and sees he's already at rank 9. He mentions he wishes he had a different role than farmer, because if he had a sharper weapon, it would be easier to finish off the monsters. But at that moment, he realizes Kusu has just died and can't revive, just like Lou. After this, he runs towards the village, which is in flames, and panics, thinking that since he's the last one, if he dies, they'll all die in real life. There, he finds another log of something that happened earlier. Touching it, he sees Kusue talking to a child. She tells the kid she's trying her best not to be a burden to her teammates. She then mentions she likes being in this place because she can move freely. In real life, she suffers from an illness that prevents her from doing so properly. Therefore, her whole life, she's been a burden to her parents, who have to pay for her expensive medicine. At that moment, the village troll arrives, and she tries to defend the people. But it's useless because the monster grabs her with its hand and is about to eat her. Our hero watches as, before being devoured, Kusu screams his name, asking for help. Seeing all this, he's moved by her life story and thinks that he's always only thought about himself and never about others. After this, the log video ends, and he's shocked by what he just saw. But suddenly the troll appears and starts chasing him. As he runs, he knows it would be pointless to try and attack it because his low rank is no help. The troll hits him, and he goes flying through the air. We see a memory of when he was a kid with his friends. He asks them all to come back to this same place when they graduate. He also has a memory of Kusue, who feels guilty for being a burden to her parents and everyone else. At that moment, our hero wakes up and falls into the river, but he has to keep running because the troll is right behind him. He realizes the monster just jumps like a frog and tries to crush him. That's why he tries to come up with a plan, because just running away is pointless. He then runs into a goblin and automatically stabs it with his stick. After that, we see the troll and everything around him freeze. Suddenly, the Game Master appears and congratulates him for reaching rank 10. Hearing this, our hero celebrates excitedly, since he took a risk and it paid off. The Game Master then spins the wheel to see what occupation he'll get this time. As it's spinning, our hero wishes for a skill with a sharp sword or something similar. However, he gets the role of chef. He's disappointed again, thinking this is the kind of role that should go to the girls, like a true fan of old-school tropes. The Game Master explains that the chef's skills will be added to the ones he already had. But then, our hero notices that among the chef's weapons is a knife, and he gets super excited. After this, time returns to normal. He slides under the troll and gives it a huge gash in the stomach with the knife. At that moment, we see the monster is bleeding, and thanks to this, Lu and Kusu revive. When they come back, they thank him for saving their lives, but are surprised that he's now wearing a chef's uniform. He explains it's because he changed his class. Then he tells them he's figured out the troll's attack pattern. They just have to move when it jumps like a frog. They're impressed by how good our hero has gotten and see that, thanks to this technique, the troll is literally getting tired. After this, they decide to fight, but the monster kills them several times, along with our hero. Then, our hero thinks he just needs one more hit to finish it. He dives inside it through the wound and makes another cut. Although he dies again, we can see the troll is getting more tired and losing more blood. After this, Lu climbs on its back and hits it with a blast of air that goes right through its head, and we finally see the troll die. Suddenly, the Game Master appears, and we can see their ranks have increased. Our hero has reached rank 5 as a chef, even though he just started this role. The man tells our hero that as a reward for completing the mission, he can ask his question. After thinking about it, our hero asks what they'll do after step 10. The Game Master then shows him a video of his city, but it's plunged into chaos. In that future, we see our hero with the girls, and everyone's wearing warrior outfits. Then, a giant dragon emerges from a portal in the sky. After that, we're back to reality, and the three of them are in the classroom again. Lu explains that time freezes when they're in the other world. She says the next step will be in a week and tells him to be ready. After that, she thanks him for saving her, since now she can play in the tennis tournament. Before leaving, she asks our hero to make sure Kusu gets home safely. Later, we see them walking Kusu home. However, his heart is still racing from everything he experienced in the other world. He thinks about how they were there for more than a day, but in the real world, not a single second passed. Then Kusue also thanks him for saving her life. As she says it, our hero realizes this is the first time he's ever talked to a girl in real life. This situation makes him super nervous, and he starts rambling. Later, they pass the spot from the vision where the dragon lands, and our hero thinks that if he quits the missions, everyone in this city will die. Then, scene change. We see Lou in the locker room after tennis practice. She's texting our hero and is curious about what kind of person he is in real life. She asks a teammate if she knows him, but she says she's never spoken to him. As she reads the messages, she's fascinated by our hero, finding him to be an indecipherable person. Later, we see him running through the city, thinking he'd rather be running in the mountains than on this concrete ground. After this, we see he can't stop thinking about the vision of the future and wonders why they would choose him to save a city he hates so much. At that moment, he gets a call from the game master and is surprised to realize that every time he appears, he has a different voice. The game master then tells our hero he already has a mission prepared for him and says he'll have to try and impress a girl he's about to point out. Later, we see the man ask him to infiltrate a different school to find a girl he doesn't know yet. He then tells him to go into the girl's bathroom and look for the one with glasses. When he goes, then the game master appears and puts a hand on her shoulder, just like he did with our hero the first time he arrived. After that, we learn the new girl's name is Yuka. The game master spins the wheel, and she gets the role of Fire Mage. He then explains that instead of 30 seconds, it'll now take them 40 seconds to revive. He shows them their mission: explore 5% of the map and deliver goods to the village of Dodorb. Our hero asks the game master what he means by goods, but he just says goodbye and vanishes. After this, our hero tries to approach Yuka, but she backs away, thinking he's a creep and a weirdo. She tells Lou and Kusu that he broke the girls' phones, and then they told her he's a pervert who installs cameras in bathrooms. Later, Lou asks the new girl why she said all that about our hero. She confesses that when he came in and attacked them, they found a common enemy, and that's how she became friends with her bullies. The blonde girl tells her it's not worth being friends with those girls. Hearing this, Yuka says Lou is amazing and immediately kneels before her, then asks her to marry her. Later, they're exploring, and our hero notices the girls are ignoring him. But then, a giant, apparently dead insect falls from the sky. Other bugs crawl out of it, and one latches onto our hero's face and kills him. Lou dies the same way. But Yuka thinks this is her moment to become the hero she always admired on TV as a kid. And then, she dies instantly. After this, our hero gets mad about looking ridiculous in front of the girls and starts killing the insects with his chef's knife. When the 40 seconds are up and the girls revive, they watch him in awe as he fights. Even Yuka finds him as attractive as one of the idols she admires. Then, our hero tells Kusu he wants to try something new. Since he can't use her sword, he holds her arms, and while gripping the sword, they bring it down together, slicing the giant centipede in half. After this, we see their skill levels go up. Following that, Lou also has a dream about something that happened when she was little. We see her fighting with a boy who's clearly saying mean things to her. However, everyone defended him instead of her, just because she was the daughter of a bad guy. So, she runs off. While she's sadly thinking about what happened, an older girl approaches her, sees she's lonely, and asks to be her friend. Later that night, Lou is in bed, covering her ears as she hears her father and another man talking about her new friend's death. They make fun of her, saying she was probably killed for being so unattractive. At that moment, Lou's father is thankful his daughter is pretty and won't suffer when she grows up. Later, at the viewing, Lou looks at her dead friend in the casket and can only think about her father's words. When you have a face like that, you can end up like this. Suddenly, Lou wakes up from the nightmare, and our hero apologizes for waking her. We see he's shirtless and carrying a rock. He tells her he's weight training and just started recently. However, seeing how quiet she is, he realizes she's sad. This seems strange to him, since Lu is the queen of the school and super popular, so he never would have imagined her crying. He then asks her why she's crying and what's wrong. With tears in her eyes, she takes his hand and asks him to help her. Next, we see Lu telling our hero about her childhood. She explains that as a kid, she was known as the problem child. However, everything changed when she met the older girl. But one day, she took her own life by jumping off a building. This happened because the girl was being bullied at school and had no one to talk to. Then, when Lu started elementary school, she was also bullied by the teachers, who treated her badly for being a delinquent's daughter. But her friends always supported her, which is why her friends are the most important thing to her. Since she was little, she swore she wouldn't end up like her friend. That's why she's tried to be a popular girl, a great tennis player, and a model. Arriving in this world, she thought everything she cared about had been destroyed. She asks our hero to help her win the game so she can get back to her life. We then see that both Kusue and Yuka are listening to what she's saying. In the next scene, the four of them are exploring the ruins of the village that was destroyed by the troll. Kusu thinks about the boy she talked to that day and hopes he's okay wherever he is. After this, she asks a man passing by for directions to the village the game master mentioned. He shows them a map and says the village of Dedorb is on the other side of the continent. The man tells them the village is very far away and that if they decide to walk, it will take them about 3 months to get there. But if they go by horse, they'll arrive in 30 days. Then, he mentions, there's going to be a martial arts tournament, and the grand prize is 3 horses. Hearing this, they get excited and decide to sign up. However, since there's some time before the tournament, our hero suggests they level up a bit to get more powerful. While they're in the forest, a group of armed bandits appears. Seeing that they're heroes, the criminals get excited because they can ask for more ransom money. One of them lunges at our hero, but he dodges and slashes him with his knife. At that moment, we hear the Game Master's voice saying that for injuring another human, his experience points will be reduced. His level drops from 9 to 8. So our hero thinks of a strategy to beat them without having to hurt or kill them, and finally decides it's best to just run away. However, we see that Lu doesn't listen and stays to fight the criminals. We can assume she was captured. After that, Kusue and Yuka ask our hero to go rescue Lu, but he says they can't risk it right now. Yuka doesn't like our hero's attitude and goes with Kusu to rescue her. Later, the bandits capture them and throw them in a cell. We realize this happened because they didn't obey our hero's orders and talked badly about him. Then, in a scene change, our hero says he feels very lonely. But just then, some goblins appear, and he eliminates them. Upon reaching level 10, the Game Master spins the wheel to select his new occupation. This time, he gets the role of Biological Mage, which has the power to increase or decrease the persuasive ability of his words or actions. Not understanding what it means, our hero feels disappointed because now he has to start from level 0 with this role. Later, we see the 3 girls locked in a cell. Lu and Yuka are angry and talking trash about our hero because he hasn't come to save them. However, Kusui isn't upset. On the contrary, she hopes he's doing okay. Then, in a scene change, our hero is about to start his first tournament match, but he dies instantly. While waiting to revive, he's shocked that he was taken out in just 5 seconds. After 40 seconds, he revives. Our hero approaches the knight who killed him. The knight lifts their visor, and it turns out to be a girl who defeated him. She introduces herself, saying her name is Campbell. At that moment, our hero asks the girl to lend him 3 horses to go to the other side, but she proposes that if he helps her defeat a troll, she could lend him the horses. However, it would take a long time to find a troll, so our hero suggests taking out a gang of criminals instead. After this, they go to the commander, who tells them that if they eliminate the gang, they'll lend them 1 horse. Later, the girl tells our hero she's going to help him train with the sword since he's still a total newbie. Our hero thinks he's terrible with the sword because when he became a mage, his skills reset to 0. The girl tells him he needs to practice a ton with the sword to get better. Scene change, our hero and Campbell's army ambush the criminals, but seeing they're losing, the criminals release a giant called a berserker from a cage. The girl explains to our hero that if you eat magic meat and your body can handle it, you automatically turn into a giant. The giant then wields a sword, so Captain Campbell also draws her longsword, called the Slicer. We see she's super excited to use the sword and says the only reason she chose the path of a knight was to slice things up. However, the giant knocks the sword out of her hand, and just as it's about to finish her, our hero blocks the attack with his knife. He then uses his mage power, which makes the giant obey for a moment. He tells it to look behind, and when it does, our hero slashes its stomach. The giant then grabs our hero and kills him with one blow. The girl then picks up her slicer sword again and cuts off the giant's head. After that, we see the army successfully capture all the criminals. After being freed, the girls thank our hero for rescuing them, and he tells them he's gotten a horse. However, it seems Campbell has another proposal. She says she'll ask for permission to escort them to the village in exchange for two things. First, they have to return the horse when they get there, and second, they must let her instruct them in the art of the sword. They happily accept, since this will help them become better warriors. Later, Campbell's father tells our hero it's an honor for them to accompany the heroes, and he thanks everyone for their help. Then we see them set off on their journey to the village of Dedorb. In a scene change, Kusue is telling her story. She says that because of her illness, she always got bad grades in PE. She mentions that no matter how hard she tried, her grade in that subject never got above a 1. For this reason, her biggest dream is to invent a medicine to cure her mother's illness and her own. However, pharmacy school is very expensive, and her parents couldn't afford it. So, the only way to study that career is to get good grades and a scholarship. She then thinks that the only thing she can hope for at the moment is peace. But now she's appeared in this world where she has to kill to survive. After this, we see our hero, the girls, and the army on their way in carriages pulled by horses that look like dinosaurs. Captain Cavil says it's getting dark and the horses need to rest. Later, we see them with our hero, and since he's a chef, he's obviously cooking for everyone. However, we notice Kusue can't eat because she keeps remembering all the violence she saw in the cell. She says what she wants most is to protect the world, but she can't even protect herself right now. The girls admire how comfortable our hero seems here. Cavil then approaches him and says it's time for sword training. We then realize the real reason she insisted on training them was because she can slice them up as much as she wants, and they'll just revive. We see her train with each of the girls, and they end up sore, even though you can barely feel pain in this world. Later, our hero is healing a guy's leg with his mage powers. Yuka complains that it's unfair he gets to level up without fighting. Our hero tells her not to blame him, but to get mad at the system. We see Kusue in the tent, listening, and thinking that if she wants to get better as a warrior, she needs to earn experience points. In the next scene, we see her training hard with the sword, and Cavil tells her that her technique has improved a lot. After that, they discover a goblin village nearby. Our hero says they'll handle it since it's been days and they haven't earned any combat points. He and the girls get ready to fight. Lu tells Kusu she doesn't have to go if she doesn't want to, but she insists she wants to fight for points. Then, our hero and the girls start taking out the goblins, but we see Kusu is terrified. One of them jumps at her, and she stabs it with her sword. After this, she feels guilty for killing it and apologizes, then bursts into tears since it's the first time she's ever killed anything. Later, they're all around a campfire, and the girls congratulate Kusu on killing her first goblin. However, she's really sad and asks the captain why she likes cutting up flesh so much. The captain starts describing how fascinating it is to slice through moving muscle fibers, and then feel the enemies die. After saying this, she excitedly goes off to stand guard, hoping a goblin shows up for her to slice. Later, our hero shares what Cavil's father confessed to him. He told him the real reason she likes cutting flesh is because, since she was little, he made her watch him fight with real swords. He thought if she watched fights from a young age, she'd be a better warrior. Because of all that violence, she developed a particular taste for blood, cutting flesh, and, killing people. After this, Kusue thinks that even if she doesn't like it, she's going to kill all the bad guys and keep the promise she made to her parents to create a medicine to cure her mother's illness and her own. Scene change. They continue their journey and spot some monsters attacking soldiers in the distance, and there's a child with them. Seeing this, Kusui asks them to let her go, saying if no one else will, she'll go help them alone. She convinces our hero by saying they have to save people, even if it's not part of the mission. She then suggests it might be a test from the game master, so he orders the others to go on ahead while he and Kusu go to help. When they get there, they realize the monsters are some kind of werewolves and are way stronger than them. They attack, and Kusu dies quickly. Also, our hero's mage powers don't work on them. One of them bites his hand, but just as it's about to kill him, he pokes it in the eye and gets free. He grabs his knife, but as he's about to stab it, another wolf bites his neck from behind, and our hero dies too. After 40 seconds, Kusu revives and feels helpless because she has to protect him. At that moment, we see her gather her courage. One of the wolves runs towards her, and just as it gets close, she summons a longsword and runs it through. Seeing this, our hero is impressed by her great tactic. She heads off to kill another wolf that's still alive. But at that moment, the girl's carriage comes speeding back as they decided to return and help. Our hero runs towards the carriage to make the wolf chase him. Suddenly, Campbell jumps out from behind with her sword and cuts off the werewolf's head. Scene change. The soldiers thank our hero and the girls for saving their lives. They mention the king sent them to take the two men and the child to Radador, where they'll be executed for being heretics. Hearing this, they're confused, not understanding why they're being accused, especially a child. He then thinks about the mission the game master gave them, which was to bring goods to Radador. He wonders if goods meant these people. However, he remembers they can't attack the soldiers because they're people, and it would lower their experience points. Captain Cavil gets angry and is about to fight the soldier because she won't let them be executed. But he intervenes to stop the fight. Meanwhile, our hero is healing the child and calls a meeting of the heroes to decide what to do. Since they haven't decided whether to save the people or help execute them, Yuka suggests taking them to Radador and freeing them right before they're executed. Lou says that while they decide, they'll travel with the soldiers and prisoners, making sure nothing happens to them. Later that night, they camp, and our hero continues healing the child. One of the prisoners, a religious man, comes in. The man tells him the king has imposed a dictatorship and ordered the death of anyone who speaks of the higher powers because he wants people to follow only him and not talk about religion or worship statues. After this, our hero and the girls go talk to the leader of the soldiers. Around the campfire, he explains that the king's plan is to invade weaker countries. The soldier thinks that thanks to the king, these towns can improve. However, Yuka gets angry and tells the soldier that's just abuse. But when he's about to grab his weapon to attack her, our hero has to step in and say she didn't mean it like that. Thanks to him, the soldier calms down a bit and doesn't kill her. The next day, we see Cavell training Lou with the sword. During training, Cavell explains that since women usually have less brute force than men, they have to be smarter and aim for lethal wounds. After this, they reach a thorny stretch of rocks, and the soldier comments it will take at least 7 days for all the carriages to cross. For this reason, they decide to take a shortcut. Later, they enter a tunnel where they have to pass through some water-powered mechanisms. But at that moment, the doors close, and they're trapped inside. We realize the soldier set a trap for them. He says he won't travel with people who follow that awful religion. Our hero thinks they're in a really bad spot since they lost the prisoners and can't complete their mission. The mechanisms in front of them line up, and they cross the platform. However, we see it has traps, so they have to be careful. Later, our hero realizes they need to move some rocks with symbols on them, and doing so stops the obstacles. After this, they manage to pass without a problem. Further on, they see a platform that seems to have no obstacles. our hero gets cocky and walks across without a care. But we see there are traps in the walls. He can't do anything and dies falling into the void. After that, our hero revives but is trapped in the pit and can't get out. He yells at the girls to continue without him. After this, they manage to figure out the pattern in which the traps activate, while our hero looks around and sees skeletons of people who couldn't get out. Later, the girls arrive at a place that looks like a fighting arena. We see there's a gargoyle, and Cavell explains that these are ancient creatures. She comments that if you drain all their internal fluids, these creatures can remain motionless for thousands of years. But upon entering, the gargoyle activates and liquids start flowing into its body. It then detaches from where it was hanging, and we discover it's a kind of robot with sharp arms. Lou remembers that the soldier who locked them in said their strength wouldn't be enough to beat the thing that lives inside, clearly referring to the gargoyle. Scene change. Our hero is breaking the stones on the wall to climb. He mentions that even though he can revive, he's still scared of falling. He falls again and says he's lost count of how many times he's died today. He decides to try again, but this time in the dark to concentrate. Many memories of the past come to him when he was the new kid in class and no one wanted to be near him. We then see him continue trying to climb, and he finally makes it to the top. After this, our hero walks through the labyrinth in the dark and finds a log point. Placing his hand on it, he sees a recent memory where Cavell and the other girls are crying over the death of a soldier our hero had a good relationship with. Later, he finds the soldier's lifeless body and regrets that he couldn't even be there when he died. He thanks him for the time they shared and then says goodbye. Scene change. We're back to the girls' fight against the gargoyle. As the creature approaches, Lou notices a key hanging from its arm and assumes it must be important. After this, Campbell starts clashing swords with the gargoyle while the girls are killing some annoying bats that were getting in their way. Then, the gargoyle stabs Campbell with its arm, and she falls dead into the water. The girls can't believe what they're seeing, since Campbell isn't a hero and can't revive. The monster then heads towards Lou and raises its arm to stab her. She's waiting for the blow with her eyes closed. However, she looks up and sees the gargoyle is frozen. She then has a memory of our hero explaining that when you reach rank 10, time stops for everyone except you and the master. Just then, the game master appears and asks Lou to spin the wheel. We see she gets the warrior roll. In the memory, our hero tells her that when the wheel stops, she'll have an enemy in front of her and must use those few seconds of advantage. She listens and lunges at the gargoyle. However, when she hits it, the sword does no damage because its armor is too tough. Instead, it breaks her arm, and she's left on the edge of the platform, about to fall. But she gets up and notices her arm has healed. She then sees the monster is bleeding from a wound Campbell gave it. At that moment, she remembers that during training, Campbell taught her where to stab to kill. Lou launches an attack, but the monster cuts off her arm. She then climbs up to its head and, holding her sword with her severed arm, stabs it from above, straight through the heart. Scene change. We see our hero looking for the exit of the labyrinth. As he runs, memories of his childhood playing with his friends come to mind. He remembers the time when, despite being terrified, he fought off a bear to save his friends. Then he remembers another moment when they buried a time capsule under a tree to dig up years later. However, that would never happen because, sometime later, a bulldozer ripped out the tree along with the box of memories. Our hero wonders why he was brought into this game if he's not someone special. After thinking about all this, he gathers his courage and says he's the strongest in his group, and his duty here is to protect the girls. He sees a light at the end and runs towards it. Coming out of the tunnel, our hero is surprised to see the girls. Lou is on the ground and tells him he's late as she's already killed the gargoyle. Then, the boy soldier yells that Campbell is still alive. Hearing this, our hero takes off his clothes and jumps into the water to rescue her. Kusu is happy he's going to help her, but Lou and Yuka feel jealous because our hero had said in a situation like this that they shouldn't save anyone but focus on the mission, the exact opposite of what he did. Yet now, he's clearly saving Cavell. Later, in a scene change, we see she wakes up confused. The boy soldier gets excited and tells Cavell that our hero healed her wounds. He tells her he emptied several containers of monster blood to heal her. He also mentions that after that huge effort, our hero was exhausted and fell asleep. After this, the boy soldier leaves, and Cavell approaches our hero and gives him a kiss on the lips. But from the window, the three girls see her do it. She feels really embarrassed. They then ask her why she kissed him, and she says she doesn't know why, she just felt like it. Cavell then asks the girls if our hero has any admirers, and they shyly say no. She then confesses that our hero reminds her of herself. Cavell mentions that her country holds a tournament where, out of 3,000 participants, only the top 100 become warriors. She explains that she placed 70th in the tournament. However, her father was second, and her brothers were just a few places below. For this reason, compared to her family, she considers herself just one of the crowd. She explains that was the reason she decided to join them on the expedition, because besides getting to cut fresh meat, she wants to raise her combat level against opponents. Later, our hero wakes up alarmed and says, maybe they've been wrong this whole time. Maybe the word goods doesn't refer to the three prisoners they have to save. It's more likely the game master meant an object or merchandise that the town of Ratador can trade. However, Kusue talks some sense into him, telling him not to abandon the rescue because if they don't save the prisoners, even if they aren't the goods, they'll still die anyway. After thinking for a few seconds, our hero decides the best option is to split up. Hearing this, the girls feel like they're being rejected by a guy they're not even into. Then, our hero explains they'll split into two groups. One will find the soldiers with the prisoners, and the other will look for a different shipment headed to Ratador. However, since they still don't know what the goods are exactly, they might not be able to complete the mission. After this, we see that Group A is made up of Lu, Kusue, and the boy soldier named Muag. Group B is our hero, Cavell, and Yuka. Group A heads off to investigate what the goods are, while Group B plans an ambush on the soldiers to free the prisoners. But at that moment, the girls are surprised to see our hero's expression change when he talks about what he'll do to the soldiers who betrayed them. He mentions he's going to make them suffer a lot when they die. The next day, they catch up to the soldiers, and our hero says they'll wait for the right moment to attack. Later, he and Yuka are around a campfire, and she tells him that the other day he sounded like a villain, more like a dark lord than a hero. After this, Yuka remembers the kiss Cavell gave him while he was asleep and asks if a kiss in this place counts as a first kiss. He replies that a kiss could be considered an ABS experience. After this, our hero gets up to find Cavell to take over his watch. That's when Yuka discovers that our hero was actually asleep when Cavell kissed him. After that, our hero finds the soldiers, and they obviously draw their swords to fight. However, he tells them he's not here to fight. He just wants to negotiate. Then Yuka shows up and tells the soldiers that our hero only wants to negotiate something that benefits him. He then pretends to be a believer in their religion and tells them that if they don't release his three brothers in faith, they'll use their hero power to eliminate them and spread the message to the whole world. After this, he tells them they have until dawn to decide, and if they touch one of the prisoners, the deal is off. Later, while the soldiers are deciding what to do, Yuka appears and tells them she really doesn't get along with our hero, so she wants to hand him over for them to capture. We then realize the girl is just acting and thinks it was super easy for them to fall into the trap. She leads them to where our hero is supposedly resting. However, they don't trust her, and one of them stabs her from behind with a sword. While waiting to revive, she comments that at least she was able to lead them far enough away. After this, they return and discover that our hero burned the carriage and the prisoners. But this isn't true. Our hero just took one of the soldiers and disguised him as a prisoner, and the others are just dummies dressed in their clothes. We see the soldiers are terrified, and our hero and the girl escape on one of the horses. Seeing how ruthless our hero can be, she's intimidated by his attitude and thinks it's better to have him as a friend than an enemy. Later, they arrive at a cave where the prisoners are safe and sound. Seeing them, they thank our hero and Yuka for saving their lives. After that, Yuka leaves the cave for some fresh air and remembers when our hero explained the plan. He planned everything they would do with the decoys and prisoner outfits. However, to make it convincing, they had to kill a soldier. At that moment, she asks our hero if he has a problem with killing someone for the first time. But he replies that this probably isn't reality since they're inside a video game, so it's not literally killing someone for real. Then we return to the present, and our hero comes out of the cave to talk to Yuka. She asks if the soldier's death affects him, but he puts on his aggressive attitude and says he wants revenge. He then tells her that their lives are in danger, and they can't worry about characters in a video game. We're then shown the soldier who was burned. We see his rank dropped from 9 to 7 because our hero killed a real person. Scene change. The soldier is remembering when the king gave them the mission to deliver the prisoners. They then find their carriage with the dead horse, and he cries with helpless rage, realizing he failed to meet his king's expectations. He remembers when our hero burned the carriage and said he was only doing it for revenge. The soldier then sends a messenger chicken to report what happened. He thinks about the punishment the king will give them for losing the prisoners. But at that moment, Cavell appears and slits his partner's throat. She then tells him the king won't punish them because she'll give them what they deserve herself. She confesses that the prisoners aren't dead, as the burned bodies were just disguised dummies, although they did burn one of the soldiers alive. Hearing this, he lunges at her with his axe, but she dodges the attack and cuts off his arms. She then asks for his last words. With tears in his eyes, the soldier says his only wish was peace for the world. After that, Cavell cuts off his head. She then comments that they are very mistaken if they think they can find peace by killing all their countrymen, and she won't find peace until she's finished all of them. In the next scene, the king hears the news and tells the soldiers he sent that they are failures for not completing the mission. The man who delivered the message, who has a mark on his forehead, tells the king they need to do something about the heroes, as they are supposed to remain neutral but are taking out his kingdom's soldiers. After this, we see our hero, Cavell, and Kusue reflecting on whether they succeeded or failed in this mission. Our hero tells the girls he has 3 ideas about the goods mission that he wants to try. He then travels in the carriage with the boy while the girls ride the horses. The boy thanks our hero for everything they've done for them. We see he's very excited to be with them and says he'd love to be a hero when he grows up. After this, they stop to rest. Cavell approaches our hero and blushes as she's about to ask him something, but when she sees the boy is there, she gets embarrassed and says it was nothing important. We then see Yuka hiding, also blushing because she knows Cavell was about to confess her feelings to our hero, but she's sad because their journey is about to end when they reach Radador in a few days. After this, Yuka gets excited about helping Cavell confess to our hero. However, he just wants to go home and play his video games. As he says this, he notices Cavell staring at him a lot. Later, Yuka asks our hero to switch places because her butt hurts from riding so much. But we realize she's just doing it to leave our hero and Cavell alone so they can talk. She then does everything she can to get our hero and Cavell to do things together, just like in her favorite idol video game, Wansta. After this, Cavell hunts a huge boar for our hero to cook, while Yuka thinks this is super romantic. After eating, Yuka realizes nothing is working. So she goes up to the girl and yells that it's time to train. However, this technique to bring them together doesn't work either. Later that night, our hero is alone, and Cavell approaches him, asking if he has a moment to talk. She sits next to him, and after a few seconds, she thanks him for helping her avenge the soldier's death in the labyrinth. She then says she feels relieved because she's been wanting to thank him for a long time. Right after, she goes to sleep. We see Yuka is disappointed because she thought Campbell was literally in love with our hero. Scene change. Lu, Kusu, and the boy soldier are talking to some merchants about escorting them to Radador, thinking that the goods the game master mentioned might be among their cargo. After that, our hero and the girls finally complete the mission of delivering the goods. This is because they clearly made the right choice by delivering the boxes with the heads of the king's soldiers. Now, all that's left is to finish the mission of exploring 5% of the world map. Leaving there, they meet up with Lu and Kusu, who are happy to have completed the mission. They comment that they have to finish the task since they only have a day and a half left. Right after, the girls say the same thing at the same time. They need to split up. At that moment, we see our hero is taken by surprise, since now they're the ones who want to split into groups. He says he feels like he's rejecting a girl he was never interested in. Scene change. The girls have decided to split up to cover more of the map. Our hero comments that if they keep this pace, he'll be able to finish the mission from the Game Master on time. Later, Campbell watches the blizzard outside while thinking about her farewell with our hero. He thanks her for being a great help on the mission, shakes her hand, and runs off. After that, she remembers the kiss she gave him and wishes him well. Scene change. He's walking through the blizzard, which makes it very difficult to finish the mission because the temperature is dropping fast. He thinks that if he freezes to death, he won't be able to revive. He decides to do high knees to warm up a bit. We then see the girls are going through the same thing, but they're worse off because they have few extra clothes to put on. Our hero, on the other hand, does, since he can use the clothes from his other classes. However, the girls think about the tough times they've been through since arriving in this world and hold on to the hope of surviving and returning home. At that moment, our hero looks at the map and realizes that because of the blizzard, the girls haven't been able to make any progress either. He calculates that there are still 10 kilometers to go and decides to just keep walking. We then see the girls have passed out from the cold. Our hero thinks that as long as one of them survives, they'll complete the mission. He then thinks about building a shelter to wait out the blizzard, but if he stops when he's so close, he'll probably freeze to death. Suddenly, a monster appears in the snow, known as the Abominable Snowman. It slashes his back with its claw, but our hero gets up quickly and pulls out his knife. He thinks about running, but it's impossible due to the weather conditions. Later, he manages to kill the monster, but then discovers it had babies. Seeing them, our hero feels no sadness about the fact that they might die of cold or hunger, so he just continues on his way. Later, as he walks, our hero thinks about all the people he has saved. Although he doesn't know why they were chosen to be in this world, he's determined to do everything possible to complete the mission and go home. But at that moment, he falls off a cliff. As he's falling, he thinks that if he dies, they will all die in real life. We then see the notification that our hero has died. Scene change. Yuka remembers her favorite show from when she was little and how she wanted to be just like the heroines in that anime. Although they don't say its name, we can guess it was Sailor Moon. We see she's made a shelter in the snow. However, she's sad because she's not as strong as the magical girls from the show. She thinks about how she talked badly about our hero just to get the girls who were bullying her to like her. After this, we see our hero after the fall. He opens his eyes and is surprised to see he was able to revive. This is because the place where he fell is warmer than outside. When he gets up, he realizes it's a secret dungeon with strange symbols on the walls. Further on, he sees animal bones on the ground, but then he gets a notification that Kusue has died. We see her as a spirit in the middle of the blizzard, her body lying in the snow. Since she can't revive, she begs her body to get up. Scene change. Lu wakes up after being unconscious for a moment. She gathers her courage and says she'll complete the mission, even if it's the last thing she does, taking advantage of a lull in the wind. Lu starts walking. Further on, she sees the lights of a city and decides to go there to borrow some transportation. Suddenly, she stops and realizes she's walking on a frozen river. The ground beneath her feet cracks and breaks. At that moment, Lu dies instantly upon falling into the freezing water. After this, our hero sees that both Kusu and Lu have died, and this time they can't revive. He knows he can't die now. Only he and Yuka are still alive. He continues on through the dungeon but finds the path blocked by a landslide, so he has to crawl through a narrow passage. However, when he gets out of the tunnel, he finds himself in a dead-end room. He then feels a strong tremor and a giant worm emerges from the earth. But our hero realizes the worm isn't actually dangerous. He's even happy to have found it because he can follow the tunnels it's making, which will help him get out, even though the worm is leaving droppings as it goes. But from behind, an evil worm appears, opening its mouth full of teeth to eat our hero. Scene change, we see Yuka worried because the only ones still alive are her and our hero. But then she gets the notification that he has died. Seeing this, Yuka falls to her knees, feeling totally defeated, with no hope that she can complete the mission and save her friends. Suddenly, she has a vision where she imagines the girls from the anime motivating her not to give up. They show her all the times they were about to be defeated but never surrendered. After the vision, Yuka gets up, motivated, with tears in her eyes. She continues on her way, this time imagining her favorite idol guiding her forward. Then, a woman riding a giant cat appears and asks her to get on. They fly through the air on the cat, and she tells Yuka that she's not a heroine, just a simple mage. At that moment, we see the time for the mission is about to run out. Just as the timer hits 0, Yuka closes her eyes, crying. A moment later, our hero, Lu, and Kusue are in a time-space void, confused because they don't know who actually completed the mission. Then Yuka arrives, and they realize it was her who saved them. Suddenly, the Game Master appears and congratulates Yuka for successfully completing the mission on time. He tells her that, as a reward, he'll answer one question. After much thought, she asks if they are in a virtual reality. The Master explains that they are in a parallel world that is real, and definitely not a video game. The Game Master tells them that this world is one that exists where Earth would be, but in a dimensional multiverse. He says all the people living there are real, and the only virtual ones are them. And since those people don't know where they come from or why they're so powerful, they call them heroes. Hearing this, our hero gets angry because the Game Master didn't give him this info before. He then feels terrified thinking about the people he's killed there, believing it was just a simple video game. Scene change. They're back in reality, and he still can't believe everything he did just because he thought they were in a virtual world. Later, we see he can't sleep. He says that even though he always wished people would just drop, now that he's actually experienced it, he can't handle the guilt and feels like he's falling from a great height. The next day at school, his classmates are surprised to see our hero is a really good basketball player, commenting that they don't remember him being so good at the sport. On the same court, Kusu is also playing volleyball with other girls. At one point, the ball gets away from her, but Lu hits it back. She tells her she's glad they're playing instead of just watching. Kusu replies that it seems she's gained more physical stamina in real life. Lu says she also feels much lighter because of all the effort they put in the other world. This is because the experience points they gain there give them better skills in this world. Then Kusue comments that even though her performance has improved, she still gets tired because of her illness. They both look over at our hero, who is very quiet. They mention that since they got back, he hasn't wanted to talk to either of them. However, the girls understand he feels this way because he killed a man by burning him alive and still can't get over it. On his way home, our hero gets a message from the Game Master, who asks how he feels now that he knows he killed a real person. He deletes it and gets home, agitated, not knowing why the Game Master would text him, especially something so cruel. Then he discovers a little girl in his room. Our hero freaks out, not knowing who she is, but then realizes it's the Game Master using a little girl's body. He confesses that he killed the soldiers because those people were bad. They tricked them in the labyrinth and even killed one of Cavell's guards. However, he mentions that even though they were evil, they believed they were doing the right thing by following the king's orders. Following this, the little girl asks if he wants her to tell him about the last player who will join them. He's interested, but first, he wants to know why she asked him to flirt with Yuka at the beginning. The Game Master replies that she can't answer that question right now. Then, the girl gives him a cap and says she'll take him to meet the new player who will join them on the next mission. Scene change. The game master takes him to a Chinese restaurant. There, she points to a guy sitting at the bar and says he was a drug dealer until recently. She then warns him that in a few seconds, the new player, named Keita, will walk through the door and kill the ex-dealer, and that his brother is also involved. Afterward, the master shows him that Keita is going to kill the guy at the bar because his boss made him believe he could do it without consequences. Suddenly, several hooded people enter with bats, ready to take the guy out. Seeing this, our hero intervenes and tries to explain that killing is not okay. However, they don't listen and attack him, so he has no choice but to start fighting back. He then pulls off the new player's hood and tells them to leave before the police arrive. But just then, Keita's boss comes in and points a gun at our hero. The little girl hands him a glove that lets him use his powers from the other world. Our hero quickly puts it on, invokes the power of the Biomage, and punches the Yakuza boss. He then tells the brothers to run before they get arrested. At that moment, the boss is on the floor and grabs the gun to shoot our hero, but Keita kicks his hand, knocking the gun away. The Yakuza asks why he betrayed him when he's the one who kept him alive all this time, but the kid replies that he's a coward for being beaten by a kid and now wants to shoot him in the back because he couldn't defend himself. Keita then kicks him on the ground and escapes with his brother. In the next scene, our hero is with the game master on a rooftop. He comments that he now understands why she made him go into the bathroom where Yuka was being bullied. Because he broke the girls' phones, Yuka's inappropriate photos never got out, and she was able to finish the mission in the other world and return without any problems. Our hero then says the same thing happened with the guys just now. If he hadn't intervened, they would have been arrested. Thanks to him, they can now appreciate their freedom. She then asks our hero what he thinks about the value of human life. We then see our hero talk like a villain again, replying that the blonde kid seems like a moron for letting himself be convinced to kill someone. He says he only helped him because he's going to be the new player in the other world. Afterward, we see different scenes where Liu, Yuka, and Kusue are surprised to learn that an armed man was just arrested in the city. However, they have no idea that our hero was actually involved in that situation. After this, the little girl tells our hero that his words sound like something an internet hater would say. She then asks who he thinks he is to say all this. Hearing this, our hero replies to the game master that although he knows he's just a brat who thinks he's better than everyone else, like a total gamer kid, he fights for what he believes is right and always will. And in a scene change, we're shown Keita's and his brother's backstory. We see them worried about their mother because she's an alcoholic. We then find out this is because the Yakuza boss beats them and threatens them if they don't pay back the money they owe in full. He offers the boys a job to pay off the debt, which was to kill the ex-dealer at the Chinese restaurant. However, Keita is grateful that our hero was there that day to stop it, although he's very curious about who that mysterious guy was who could beat them so easily. After this, our hero is in the classroom, not talking to anyone as usual. Lu's friends are praising her for how well her new modeling campaign turned out. We see Kuzu leaving the classroom, and Lu tells her she'll see her later. Our hero then overhears some classmates commenting that it's weird Lu is hanging out with Kusu, since one of them is the queen of the school and the other is invisible. Later, he's in his room playing video games. He remembers his classmates' comments about Lu and Kusu, and tries to figure out why they were chosen to be heroes in the other world, since none of them have anything in common. At that moment, they are teleported again. Arriving there, we see the new guy going through all the things they already experienced, like falling into the river and being chased by the sea monster. While the girls whisper about Keita's appearance, the game master appears and assigns them the next mission, which is to present the Bafo Griffin at the Bikadamia. They're confused because they have no idea what any of those words mean. They then notice the new changes. When they die, it will now take 50 seconds to revive instead of 40. Also, they can use the fast travel option, which allows them to teleport to any place in that world they've already visited. The master then spins the wheel to choose the new guy's role, and we see he gets Lancer Warrior. Our hero gets annoyed because even this guy got a better class than him. Then, Keita gets mad at our hero because he doesn't want to waste time explaining how the world works. Lu tells him they're in a world where they are heroes, and if they don't complete the mission, they'll die in real life. After this, Kusui tells Lu she summarized it a bit too much. However, the guy says he doesn't care if they don't explain. He'll just play along with whatever they do, because since he didn't finish high school, he can't understand complicated things. He then challenges our hero to a duel. Before the fight, Keita asks him to use the same power he used when he defeated the Yakuza boss. We then see our hero is bored because he thinks it'll be too easy to win. He uses his bio-mage power and makes the guy kneel, but Keita manages to break the spell and kicks him, sending him flying. He then hits him again on the ground, and our hero tells him that last one was unnecessary. Later, they teleport to the city of Cortinel. The heroes are impressed by how useful fast travel is, but they can only use it once every 24 hours. They then head to the castle to visit Campbell. When they find her, she's moved to see them because 15 years have passed. Our hero is shocked, since for them it's only been 2 weeks. We then realize that Cavell has had 2 children. Later in the scene, our hero is thinking that she has changed so much. Before, she only liked to cut fresh meat, but now she's a very loving mother. Cavell tells him that 15 years ago, she quit the Order of Knights because she lost her hand in a battle against the king's soldiers. She then takes off her prosthetic hand and says that's why she's become weak and couldn't continue fighting. To cheer her up, they tell her that having and raising children is much harder than battling. In a scene change, our hero and Campbell are together, watching the sunrise. She takes his hand and says she wanted to see the sunrise with him, at least once. But after so many years, she had lost all hope of seeing him again. She then tells him she was able to survive all these years thanks to the memories of their long journey. She mentions that they are very similar, to which she replies that back then, they complemented each other very well. After this, Cavell asks if anyone told him about the time she passed out, but our hero says no one has told him anything. She then mentions that the fact they haven't told him what happened is frustrating. At that moment, Cavell grabs him by the arms and kisses him. Then, with tears in her eyes, she tells our hero that she liked him and regrets having grown old before him. We see Lu, Yuka, and Kuzu hiding and listening to the conversation. Later, they are very sad about everything they heard between our hero and Campbell. Then, a man named Sikas, whom Kusube saved when he was a child, appears. But now, he's a man, and he thanks Kusube for saving his village from the troll that night. Seeing him, her eyes fill with tears, and she asks how he's been. In the next scene, they arrive by boat to an island called Gifon, where a girl with a sign greets them. However, she's disappointed to see they aren't the mercenaries she was expecting. Later, she explains to the heroes that the cows here are called Gifon Bafo, the ones named in the mission from the Game Master. They learn they have to deliver one of these cows to the harvest festival called Bicadamia to complete the mission. However, the girls mention they can't celebrate the festival this year because some people eating orcs have invaded the island. To keep from being eaten, the inhabitants offer their cows as food, so they've basically become slaves to avoid becoming lunch. They say the number of orcs on the island is growing, and soon they'll run out of cows to offer. The girls then ask the heroes to take out the orcs, especially their leader, the queen. At that moment, we realize a spy is listening and takes the news to the queen that some kids have arrived on the island and are planning to, wipe them all out. Scene change. The heroes offer to join the mercenaries and fight together. There, they meet the commander, a guy named Cantil, who is glad to have their help. Later, he's training them and says the orcs' weapons are their fists, since a single punch would take them out instantly. That's why they need to attack and retreat quickly. Cantil then tells our hero that with his short chef's weapons, he'll be the first to go down. After this, we see that Lu and Keita are the only ones qualified to fight the orcs, but he, Kusue, and Yuka are not. Our hero gets mad, realizing he's not ready for battle, so he runs off to train, level up, and pick a more powerful new role. Later, he tells the two sisters he wants to work in the fields to get experience points, since there are no trolls or goblins here to train on. They're surprised to see he's actually really good at harvesting. He tells them he learned to farm at his grandparents' house as a kid. Just then, an earthquake hits, and the fruit gets ruined, falling to the ground. They explain that any movement makes the fruit fall, so they can't get the nutrients needed to ripen. The girls then explain they used to use cow manure as fertilizer, but they can't anymore because all the cows are given to the orcs. Our hero realizes that feeding the orcs is also impacting the island's agriculture. He mentions that because the island is made of volcanic soil, the earth doesn't have enough nutrients, so they need to find a substitute for the manure. Later, our hero finds a solution, mixing some flowers and shells and waiting for them to decompose before spreading them on the fields. After this, the girl in blue gets mad, thinking he's staring at her sister's chest. The girls then relax and confess that even though they're 25 and 27, they can't do the things girls their age do. This is because they have to remain virgins to participate in an island ceremony, and thanks to the orcs, there are no young men left to replace them. Hearing this, our hero says he needs to level up to help them. He starts cooking and preparing fertilizer to raise his rank as a chef. Scene change, Lu and Keita are training, while Kusue hands out food and Yuka rests. The men complain to the mercenaries because they're paying them to get rid of the orcs, but they haven't killed a single one yet. Just then, an orc appears, and they rush to attack it. Lu and Keita charge, but the orc takes them out super fast. While waiting to revive, she's surprised to see the mercenaries attack it and cut off its fingers, then finish it by stabbing it in the back of the neck. She realizes that's how to beat them, but there are still 14 more orcs. Later, the townspeople are whispering that there's a traitor among them. Everyone starts getting suspicious and blaming the girls for hiring the mercenaries, saying they had peace on the island before they arrived. At that moment, an island warrior named Tanzimer yells at the men to be quiet and asks them to fight with their ancestors to make the island a paradise again. Hearing this, the men get motivated and decide to fight for honor. General Cantil is surprised to see this guy manage to turn the situation around and get the town to support them. Later, we see the spy go to inform the orcs that one of them died. They all start crying, swearing they'll get revenge. Scene change. Our hero continues harvesting fruit to level up. Suddenly, the Game Master appears because he has reached rank 10 of the Biomage. The Master congratulates him and spins the wheel for his new occupation. This time, he gets blacksmith. He's disappointed again, since he's worked harder than the rest and always gets lame rolls when he levels up. Our hero accuses the Game Master of cheating, but he just says goodbye and vanishes. He then notices that among his new skills is the ability to create weapons, and remembers Cavell telling him this island is famous for its handmade weapons. Scene change. The girls take our hero to their grandfather, a blacksmith, to teach him everything about weapon making. He manages to create a special axe with a stake on the back for killing orcs. Seeing this, the heroes and mercenaries are amazed by his new skill. He then tells Kusu and Yuka that he'll go back to the workshop to make ones for them. Later, Kusu is watching our hero work tirelessly when Commander Cantil appears. He tells her he's the only survivor from his destroyed country and says he feels guilty for not being able to save his people. For this reason, the mercenaries and the islanders are preparing hard to attack the orcs, as the commander won't allow any more people under his care to die. However, at that moment, they get news that the orcs are attacking the island's port. Then, in a scene change, we see a mercenary named Rise telling his story. He says that since he was a kid, his dream was to fight for Commander Cantil's army. However, he and his brother were too weak. But one day, bandits attacked their country and killed everyone except him and a few others who managed to escape. We see all the heroes listening intently to Rise's story around a campfire, and our hero thinks that even though this guy has been through an absolute nightmare, he's telling his story with such good humor. After this, we see the battle against the orcs at the port. Lu and Keita charge in, but when they try to stab them, their weapons break because the orc's skin is too tough. The orcs quickly kill them again. Suddenly, an arrow pierces one of the orcs' heads. Cantil and the others are shocked to see it was our hero, who shot it with a special bow he made himself. Rise then runs to draw the orc's attention, so our hero can retreat, reload, and shoot again. He thinks Rise is doing a great job and shoots another orc. Later, everyone is admiring the great work our hero and Rise did. Cantil makes a plan so they won't be caught by surprise again. We then see our hero build exclusive long-range weapons for Kusu and Yuka. Two orcs approach, but our hero and Rise quickly run to distract them. Yuka guides Kusu's aim, and she manages to hit an orc with a stake. At that moment, Yuka reaches level 10. After the Game Master spins the wheel, she gets a really good roll, Hunter. She's excited because now she's more like one of her favorite characters. Then, with the orc wounded on the ground, the village men fill it with arrows. Later, our hero tries to kill one with his weapon, but it only makes a small wound, and the orc crushes him to death with its hands. It then starts throwing rocks at the wall and manages to break it. Rise tries to stab it with his sword, but it shatters. The boy remembers his mother's face and feels at peace. Rise then dies after being hit by the orc. Our hero jumps in and kills the orc by driving a stake into its head. He runs to distract another orc so the girls can finish it off. They then go to Rise, who is dying on the ground. Seeing the heroes, the boy asks if they won the fight. Our hero tells him they won thanks to him. Rise smiles with pride because he can finally brag to his comrades that he fought for Commander Cantil. The boy finally dies, holding our hero's hand, who is crying his eyes out, along with Kusue and Yuka. Later, they inform the mercenaries about Rise's death. They are saddened, and Cantil thanks the boy, saying they'll meet in the underworld. After this, we see the heroes kill the only orc that had gotten past the walls, and they comment that there are only 5 left. Our hero plans to get more ammo from the old blacksmith and then go protect the Biden women in their cave, since they are needed to complete the mission. They pass by Rise's grave, and our hero bows. The girls do the same, and then they continue on their way. Later, he's with Commander Cantil when suddenly the Orc Queen appears. She heads for the ship where the island's children are hiding. She decides she will kill the children just as they killed hers, and for that reason, all she wants is revenge. The islanders were the ones who proposed the non-aggression pact if they were given cows for food, but they broke that deal. Hearing all this, Lou is shocked. Scene change, the heroes are running in a hurry. Our hero starts defending the orcs, saying if they had wanted to, they could have killed everyone. However, they respected the pact of receiving cows in exchange for not harming them. But everything changed when the orcs grew in number and the islanders decided to kill them. Scene change. The Orc Queen tells the commander, Cantil, and Lou that contrary to what many believe, humans are the cruel and merciless ones. She then attacks them, but both the commander and the girl manage to defend themselves and wound her in the back. Later, our hero and the others arrive at the village and see it was attacked by orcs, but they manage to kill one, and the other fled, wounded. Our hero tries to heal one of the mercenaries, but doesn't have enough power. They go to the master blacksmith, who is making ammunition. Kusue and Yuka explain to Keita that the stakes the blacksmith is making can't be used by the heroes. The only ammo they can use is what our hero makes. Therefore, one of the men decides to stay there to reload the weapon so they can be fired. The men thank Kusu for being kind to them. Keita then orders the others to accompany them to the Baidan cave. He approaches our hero, proud that the island men followed his orders, then tells him that if he were there, he would have charmed her right away. Later, we're back to the fight against the Orc Queen. Cantil and Lou are carrying out a plan to confuse her, and it's working well. But at that moment, a strong earthquake hits due to the volcano that's about to erupt. We're then shown the wounded mercenary with the Baidan being healed. However, they need to get the wounded out quickly because the place is about to collapse. The volcano then starts spewing large fireballs, which kill one of the men. We see that, just like him, Keita also dies after being hit by a rock. Scene change. Lou is worried about the kids on the ship, since they could get hit by a rock. In a moment of distraction, the orc throws a stone at her that tears off part of her side. Then, already dead, she's thrown into the water. She has to wait 50 seconds to revive, but since her body is underwater, she can't. She then realizes the water is receding due to the earthquake, which means a tsunami is coming that could wipe out the island. Seeing this, one of the sisters sings a song that recalls a tragedy from 800 years ago. We see the men crying as they hear the song and giant waves rise to crash against the island. The earth then splits open, and lava from the volcano begins to pour out. We then see our hero and Keita looking for the people trapped in the cave. One of the sisters emerges with the men, explaining she remembered a secret passage they used to escape. After this, they arrive at the castle where the orcs are hiding. Our hero proposes to the Badon girl that they demolish the castle to kill the orcs inside. But she gets upset hearing his plan and says it won't do anything, as it was built by her ancestors about 400 years ago. It has withstood volcanic eruptions and earthquakes and is still standing. Hearing this, our hero leaves to find a better place for the battle. Keita tells the girl that our hero only thinks about his objectives, like a machine. We then see the sisters giving a speech of hope. Even though they're in different places, they both say the same thing. With tears in their eyes, they say that if the island is destroyed, they will rebuild and work hard to raise it again, just as their ancestors did. We see the people crying at the girl's words, but at that moment, the volcano shoots a huge flame into the sky, and a giant dragon emerges. Scene change. We see the Orc Queen's story being told. People attacked her village and killed many of her kind. They then kidnapped her and locked her in a cage. She managed to escape, but instead of running, she decided to go back to the ship to get her family. We return to the present, and our hero sees a dragon flying in the sky. However, his main goal is to defeat the orcs, and he already has a plan to get them out of the castle. They have the men draw the orcs' attention so that when they get close, the heroes can take them out. The plan works, and both our hero and Keita manage to damage them, although the orcs end up killing everyone anyway. As one of them turns to go back to its hiding spot, our hero notices it has its child clinging to its back. Later, one of the Badon girls confesses that she and her sister read a book to learn all about the orcs. Hearing this, our hero asks her to tell him what she knows. She says the orcs have their own language, but she only knows one word. Our hero gets excited because this information gives him a new attack strategy. She'll say that word in their language to get their attention. However, the girl turns bright red with embarrassment because the only word she knows in the orc language is an awkward one. Scene change. The Orc Queen arrives at the ship where the island's children are hiding. Her plan is to find her family and use these children as food for the journey. But suddenly, the warrior Tan Summer jumps from the ship to stop her from taking the kids. Then, we change scenes, and our hero, Keita, and the girl are ready to execute the new plan. Keita praises him, saying he came up with a great plan and that he's incredible. Hearing this, our hero thinks that he's never praised anyone, while this guy easily points out people's strengths. He then thinks that's probably why he's such a loner with no friends. After this, the girl starts yelling the awkward word directly at the orcs and manages to get everyone's attention. While this is happening, Keita is laughing his head off, finding it hilarious that a 27-year-old woman is shouting that. Quickly, our hero and Keita launch a cart full of lava. Keita kills an orc by stabbing it through the head with his weapon. Our hero then goes for the other one and pours lava on it, causing severe burns. He then grabs the orc child and escapes. Then we see the other Badon sister realize the dragon is stealing their energy. Scene change. The Orc Queen is fighting the warrior Tan Summer. She's not attacking him because he has a huge sword. However, a giant wave hits and he falls. The orc takes the opportunity to grab his sword, but just as she's about to finish him, Lu appears on a surfboard. The queen is shocked because she thought Lu was done for. We're shown that Lu couldn't revive underwater, but when the tide went out, she was able to come back. She attacks the queen, but this time she'll try to slice her in layers since her skin is too tough to pierce. Later, Kusu is helping the blacksmith, who can't breathe from working so hard on the ammo. After this, Yuka gets a stake she pulled from an orc's body. She throws it to Kusu, but a wall breaks and she dies, covered by lava. We go back to the fight between Lu and the Orc Queen. The queen's body is covered in small wounds from Lu. But at that moment, the queen kills her again. While Lu is reviving, the orc goes to kill the warrior. However, she gets shot in the back by Kusu and the blacksmith. Lu is surprised that the waves carried them to the island's shore without them noticing. We see the queen is badly wounded, and with tears in her eyes, she thinks about protecting her family. She has a happy memory with her children, and then the warrior takes his sword and stabs her in the stomach, making her fall from the ship. The orc queen finally dies, but just then, the ship starts drifting towards the lava, and the warrior, Tan Summer, burns to death trying to push it away. Scene change. Our hero is escaping the castle with the child on his shoulder, while the orc chases him. He throws the child towards the lava, and the orc catches her before she falls. However, he realizes our hero has already killed his other child. As the orc is grieving, our hero pushes him into the lava. As he's sinking, he holds up the child so she doesn't get burned. She wakes up with tears seeing her father, and the orc is happy to see her alive, even for a moment. Then the orc sinks completely, and they die together in the flames. Afterward, we see our hero feeling bad about what he did. However, he thinks it was necessary to complete the mission. He confesses that even though he's the hero who cares the least about people, deep down, he's weaker than any of the others. Later, our hero meets up with Keita and the other Baidan sister. She tells him the story of how the Orc Queen came to the island, mentioning she was captured and caged. But she managed to escape on the way. However, when she arrived, there was no one there and no signs of blood on the ship. They assume the people jumped into the water to avoid being eaten, so they'll never know where the Orc Queen was being taken. After this, our hero asks the girl what else happened on the island while he was in the castle. She tells him that thanks to the Baidan's power, she can sense the volcano's dragon is absorbing everyone's energy. He puts on the magic glove and realizes she's right. Keita assures the girl that the heroes will investigate as soon as possible. We are then shown the dragon receiving the energy, and a bald man with strange marks on his face who is clearly controlling it. In a scene change, we get the backstory of the warrior Tan Summer. He says he hated the island since he was a kid. However, they never had any problems or wars there. He later decided to become a mercenary, and upon leaving Gifon, he discovered it was the most peaceful place of all because there was no war. Tan Summer says he found this out during his 15 years working as a mercenary. So when he returned and found the island invaded by orcs, he fought not for love of the island, but to get back the peace he once had. Later, our hero and Keita are exploring the mountain and run into the bald man who controls the dragon. He pretends to be a good person, and the heroes advise him to take shelter elsewhere since the volcano is spewing rocks and toxic gases. After this, they find the dragon stealing energy. Seeing them, it shoots a fireball at Keita, who dies instantly. Our hero starts to run but realizes the dragon isn't moving from the mountaintop, clearly to conserve energy. He thinks that if it moves too much or misses with its powers, it won't be able to keep fighting. Next, one of the mercenaries asks a Baidan named Yu if she has enough power to fight the dragon. She says her magic isn't enough, but she knows someone is using a spell to steal everyone's energy. So if she figures out what kind of spell it is, she might be able to change it. After that, our hero is running down the mountain and finds the bald guy still there. Without a word, he throws him over his shoulder and keeps running to get him to safety. The guy starts laughing and tells our hero he's been found out. The marks appear on his face, and he says his name is Dragon Bishop, and he's the one who summoned the dragon. Our hero throws him down, and the fight begins. He attacks Bishop with his chef weapons, but Bishop can control energy and takes him out with fireballs. He revives and hides behind a rock. He then sees Keita on a stone, jumping at the bald guy to stab him, but he dodges. Bishop launches another attack and takes them both out. He then heads for the Baidan. When he gets there, he attacks Yu, and she runs as he chases her, throwing powers. She asks why he's attacking her if he's an islander. He replies that it's nothing personal, but he has to take her out before dealing with the heroes. Yu is confused because this guy, Raji, was a prodigy from birth and made huge advancements for the island. She has no idea how he learned magic and went to the dark side. Raji throws another power at her, but our hero jumps in and blocks it with a frying pan. He then grabs her arm and they run. The girl doesn't get why he's saving her. Our hero is about to say something, but she thinks he's going for a kiss and puckers up. However, he was just about to tell her his plan. Suddenly, the bald guy appears in front of them, about to attack. But our hero whips out the magic glove, and he and IU join forces to fight him. Keita stabs his hand, and Bishop flees on a dragon. The girl is on the ground, blushing, and says for a second she thought our hero was going to kiss her. Keita then remembers Raji was standing on a symbol on a rock. Hearing that, Yu says it's a spell, made by drawing a hexagram symbol. They head to the spot and erase the mark. The other Bidon sister is with the young mercenary and realizes the same thing. They go and erase symbols too. She explains it's called a hexagram, and that Raji probably placed 6 of them around the island to complete the spell, which is why he's stealing everyone's energy. To stop it, they have to erase the rest, but they have no idea where they are. I mean, it's an island. They could be anywhere. The mercenary tells Yana he's been drawing a map of the island and likes drawing more than being a mercenary. He draws a circle and figures out where the last 4 marks are. Scene change. They manage to erase them all, and the spell is finally broken. The giant dragon becomes super weak and returns to the volcano. Afterward, we see all the inhabitants are happy because peace has returned to the island. The orcs are gone, and the volcano and dragon problem is solved. And even though Bishop got away, people hope he won't come back. Our hero remembers Tan Summer and says they couldn't have beaten the orcs without his help. The girls cry seeing him petrified in rock after being covered by lava. Our hero thanks him and everyone who died in the battle for their sacrifice and bravery. Scene change. The festival is being celebrated, and the heroes offer a cow to complete the mission. Yu thanks him for all his help, but our hero says they only did it because they had no other choice, not because they wanted to. She replies that it doesn't matter why they did it. She'll always remember them and tell future generations about their time together. She then hugs our hero and says she wishes she could have married him to stop being a Bidon. Seeing this, Yuka, Kusue, and Lu comment that our hero's ego is going to get even bigger now, since he knows he charmed Cavell and now Yu. Lu says he probably wins over girls in this world because he talks more than in real life. But Kusue replies it must be because he treats the girls here like people, unlike how he treats them. In a scene change, we see Commander Cantle, shipwrecked at sea, clinging to a wooden plank. Bishop flies by on the dragon. Seeing him, he thinks the commander is pathetic and has fallen so low. But just then, a sword pierces Bishop's dragon, and they both fall dead onto a sheet of ice that appeared out of nowhere. Commander Cantil is shocked because whoever cast this spell is incredibly powerful. He then realizes it was the great sorceress Fatina. She arrives with her giant owl, which is eating the dragon. In the next scene, our hero is in bed, thinking about the question Keita asked the Game Master as a reward for completing the mission. The question was what Bishop's intention was. The Game Master replied that his motive was to revive the dragon. The other heroes get mad because Keita wasted the opportunity to ask a better question. Our hero then realizes the dream he had weeks ago about the dragon in the city was a vision of the future, since the dragon in his vision is the same one from the volcano. The Game Master then appears as the little girl and tells him he'll soon meet the 6th member for the next mission. Then, in a scene change, our hero meets the new member, a filmmaker named Glenda. We notice she speaks English because she uses a lot of English words. We'll later find out she's from the United States. She tells our hero she's traveling the world shooting an indie film. However, he finds it weird that she came to visit him at his grandparents' house in another city. Glenda then says she's there to film him and make a short film so the world can know about his travels to the other world. Later, our hero agrees, and we see them about to shoot a movie about his adventures. His friends are there to act in it too. They make fun of him because when he's with the girl, he uses a different, more formal voice. Lou is surprised to see his real personality with his childhood friends. They start filming, and while our hero is playing the part of the Game Master, He explains the plan is to make a movie about their experiences in the other world and upload it to the internet so other players can recognize him. After finishing the short film, he apologizes to Lou for making her come all this way. But she tells him not to worry because she had free time and had a lot of fun acting. She then gets close to our hero and says this won't be free since she's a professional model. Hearing this, he gets scared because they had agreed over the phone that this film was for the good of all the heroes. But she whispers in his ear that her payment will be for him to relax and act like he does with his friends. Lou sets this condition because she wants to see him happier and more relaxed, not so stiff and quiet like he is with the other heroes. After that, she leaves for a bit. Scene change. Our hero says they finished the short and uploaded it to a video platform. Finally, 10 days later, they get comments from people who are also players and have been through the same thing. After this, the heroes are summoned to the other world, and the Game Master spins the wheel for Glenda's class. She gets Axe Warrior. Keita mentions there are now 4 warriors in the group, since she has an axe, Kusue and Lou have swords, and he has his spear. As Keita is saying this, he's shocked by Kusu's incredible armor. She explains that when she defeated the Orc Queen, she leveled up and got the Heavy Swordswoman class. But since the armor is super heavy, just like the name says, she decided to store it. Our hero thinks that since Kusu's stats are higher now, she might be able to keep up with him. After this, the Game Master gives them 2 mission options. While our hero picks option A, Keita chooses option B, which is to prevent the destruction of Zagro Village. The Master then disappears. Our hero yells at Keita, calling her a moron for picking that mission, since in his experience, the simpler a mission sounds, the harder it is. However, Lou tells him it's useless to fight because they're already locked into option B. They then head to Campbell's castle to ask where Zagro is, but they hesitate, not knowing what she'll look like now. It's been 17 years in that world since they last saw her, and if you've been paying attention, 15 years had already passed, so it's been 32 years total. When they arrive, they see she's younger than before, which shocks everyone. We then find out this girl is Campbell's daughter, because Campbell is no longer alive. So, we realize she has passed away. Her daughter tells the heroes that her mother told her about their adventures, and that they were her favorite bedtime stories. She thanks them for making her mother so happy and for the wonderful times they shared. As they travel to Zagro, they feel sad about Campbell's death. Our hero remembers the kiss she gave him and feels terrible, thinking he only used her to complete his mission, while she treasured those memories her whole life. Later, the heroes are walking through the jungle to get to the village, since the path to Zagro isn't used much. They find a goblin. Seeing it, Keita asks to take it down to level up, but the goblin takes him out instantly. After that, our hero and Lou jump in to attack, but this one is stronger than the goblins they've fought before. Just then, Glenda chops its head off with her axe. Our hero checks its threat level and sees this goblin is indeed stronger than the others. Suddenly, they spot someone hiding behind the bushes. Glenda goes to check it out, and Kusu follows her. They find a cabin and discover the person who was spying on them is none other than a little girl. Glenda tells Kusu to go in and talk to the girl since she's tall and might scare her, whereas Kusu is better with people, being a bit more social than the rest of them. When they enter, we see the girl is terrified. However, Kusue tells her not to be afraid because they won't hurt her. The girl then recognizes her as a hero and drops her knife. In a scene change, she tells the heroes her story. Her name is Jesby, and she's from Zagro Village, but she had to run away. That's why she was so scared when she saw them. She thought they were from the village and had come for her. Our hero asks the girl to take them there, but she immediately goes silent. Glenda suggests they go on their own, since it's clear the girl doesn't want to relive whatever happened there. The next day, Jesby shows them the stream where she gets water. Glenda thinks about how hard it must be for a little girl to survive alone. She then confesses to Kusu that she's a lesbian. Hearing this, Kusu gets nervous, but Glenda tells her not to worry, since she's not into all women. She then touches her chin, making her even more flustered. Glenda walks away, laughing at how she made Kusu feel. Later, we see our hero using his magic to make plants grow faster. Keita is amazed by this skill and finds it super useful. Lu shows up having gathered firewood with Yuka, who was hunting. But then they hear Kusue scream. They rush over and find a man being controlled by a parasite on his head. The little girl says that's her father. After this, our hero explains that these parasites are called wireworms, and they take over people's bodies, controlling all their movements. He says the only way to beat them is by burning them. Otherwise, they could cause a global pandemic. The girl begs the heroes not to hurt her father. Kusu tries to stab him with her sword, but can't do it. She looks into his eyes and can't bring herself to kill him, thinking he's still a real person. But suddenly, the zombie grabs her by the neck and kills her. Right after, our hero cuts its head off. Seeing her father dead, the girl faints. They then burn the body to eliminate the parasite. Later, in a scene change, Jesby is guiding the heroes to Zagro village. To get there, they have to go through a long cave. They stop to rest around a campfire, and the girl tells her story. She explains that the village elders send men on a journey called the Journey of Hope to find a new place to live, since the monsters in this world are getting stronger. This time, it was her father's turn to go. However, none of the men the leader sends ever come back because the journey is too dangerous, and they all die along the way. That's why she ran away from the village to find her father. Luckily, she found him in the cabin where he was living. However, he told her she couldn't come back with him because she mustn't disobey the leader's rules. The next day, without warning, her father was gone. We assume that's when he was infected by the parasite. At that moment, our hero tells the girl that if she goes back to Zagro village, she could be executed for escaping. But she's willing to take that risk because she has to tell her mother and brother that their father has died. The next day, they arrive at the village, and Jesby is happy to see her friend. But for some reason, the boy looks very sad. Later, they get to her house, and he tells her that her mother got very sick and died a few days ago. Also, her younger brother was so shocked seeing his mother die that he hasn't been able to say a single word since. Seeing the girl suffering from this tragedy, our hero decides to go for a walk, and Glenda offers to go with him. During the walk, she realizes our hero isn't as tough as he seems, since he wanted to leave the house because he couldn't stand to see Jesby crying. He confesses to her that he feels guilty because if they had arrived sooner, he could have saved her mother with his biomage power. At that moment, a little girl appears with her guards. She says she's the leader's granddaughter and comments that they don't need any help from heroes. Later, in a scene change, our hero and Glenda are talking with the village leader. He tells them it's an honor to have them there, but they don't need heroes in this village because it's very peaceful. As he's saying this, Glenda and our hero suspect they're trying to get rid of them. Our hero mentions they're well aware the village is frequently attacked by monsters. The leader asks who told them that, but they refuse to say, fearing that if he finds out it was the girl, they might do something to her. However, the granddaughter says it was Jesby because she saw them arriving together. Hearing this, the leader says he's sorry about what happened to Jesby, that he sent her father away, and now both her parents are gone. He then tells them they don't need protection from monsters because they have a trick up their sleeve to fight them. In the next scene, the leader invites them down to the dungeon to show them his plan for when the monsters attack again. When they get there, he asks them to enter a room where the weapon is. But as soon as they're inside, he locks them in. The leader tells them that heroes are more annoying than monsters. He then thanks them for bringing back that nuisance, Jesby. Our hero asks what he plans to do with the girl, to which he replies that it's none of their business since they'll be locked up in there until they die. Meanwhile, the other heroes are at Jesby's friend's house. His mother and the boy tell them that their families are treated like outcasts and aren't even given a plate of food. They can only eat some vegetables and frog eggs from the pond behind the house. But just then, the village leader arrives and tells them our hero and Glenda are at his mansion eating the finest feast. The leader invites the other heroes to come too. However, he mentions that if he doesn't punish Jesby for breaking the rules, it wouldn't be a good example for the others. But he won't punish her because the heroes asked him not to, and the villagers will understand. Lou suspects something fishy is going on but decides to go anyway. they take the heroes to the mansion. On the way, they cross a bridge, but as they're crossing, the leader starts cutting the ropes, leaving the heroes dangling. He tells them they're going to die, because when they fall, they won't be able to get out of the bottomless lake. Just then, Lou blasts him with a power that knocks him to the ground. They manage to climb up, and she says that even though they'll lose experience points for attacking a human, it was totally worth it. They are then taken, tied up, to the mansion to free our hero and Glenda. However, the villagers are at the gate, scared because they heard a loud roar. Then the guards arrive, and we see they've captured Jesby. The leader tells everyone that the heroes overpowered him when he tried to capture the girl for breaking the rules. But one of the villagers asks why the heroes would do that, saying they wouldn't be capable of such a thing. The leader replies that they were sent to take over the village. Just then, Jesby's friend, Frog, arrives and punches the guards. He stands in front of the girl to protect her. However, the guards immediately beat him down. At that moment, the boy's mother arrives and begs them to leave him alone, but the guards grab him, telling him not to resist arrest. Seeing this, Keita remembers his childhood with his brother and mother when the Yakuza boss would beat them. He fills with rage and starts hitting anyone who gets in his way. He also beats up the village leader to make him tell them where our hero and Glenda are. We see the girls are disappointed because Keita is using too much violence on humans, and for that reason, he's losing all the experience points he's gained. Later, they enter the mansion, and the leader's granddaughter tells the heroes to let her grandfather go. She then says she threw the key to the cell down a well, so they'll never get it back. Jesby's friend runs into the house to warn them that he saw a giant dragon outside, which is responsible for the roars and tremors the villagers heard. The heroes look out the window and are shocked, as they've never seen a dragon so big. They also see it's accompanied by many other monsters. At that moment, they hear a loud tremor, and the heroes draw their weapons, preparing for battle. But the noise isn't coming from the monsters, it's coming from the ground. The floor breaks open, and Glenda and our hero appear, having escaped on their own. They tell the leader that the place he locked them in wasn't a dungeon, since the ceiling was made of wood and they broke it easily. So, it wasn't hard to escape that cell. Next, our hero looks at the monsters through the window and sees they're stronger than the ones they've faced before. He says the plan is to escape through the same tunnel they used to enter the village, but it'll be tough to get there with so many monsters. Then, Frog runs off to warn the people and bring them here so they can all escape together. Kusui proposes another plan. She'll use her heavy armor, which is the most durable, to jump down the well. It's likely the well is dry and might connect to the cave. She says if she dies, at least they'll know where to find her body. After this, Kusui jumps and, well, dies. But upon reviving, she signals to the heroes that the well is 50 meters deep. They then get to work building a very long ladder to get down. Afterward, the dragon starts spewing a toxic substance from its mouth that disintegrates all the inhabitants, leaving only their bones. We then see Frog reuniting with Jesby and her little brother. However, she tells him their mother decided to sacrifice herself so they could escape. Hearing this, Frog is devastated, but they can't waste any more time and decide to go with the heroes. After this, we see the heroes have improvised a ladder and are climbing down the well. The leader's granddaughter falls, but Kusui catches her. Once at the bottom, the leader thanks her for saving his granddaughter and feels sorry for all the trouble he's caused them. Finally, when only our hero, Yuka, and Keita are left to climb down, the monsters discover their escape route. They throw a rock that destroys the well's entrance, knocking down the ladder. They have no choice but to freefall and die, since luckily, they can respawn in 50 seconds. The next day, they reach the surface, and the monsters are gone. Our hero thinks that if all the villagers had died, they would have failed the mission, but at least they managed to save about 5 people from the village. Later, the granddaughter is exhausted and doesn't want to walk anymore, so Keita offers to carry her on his back. Our hero thinks he's a strange guy. A moment ago, he was saying the villagers were just merchandise for the mission, but now he's being super sweet to one of them. Near the river, they discover a path made of human remains. Our hero decides to go explore with Glenda. When they arrive, they see it's a settlement, but no one is there. Just then, they hear a noise in the bushes. Scene change. Jesby mentions that her father was actually her stepfather, but he raised her as his own since she was little. She loved him, and he loved her very much. Remembering this, Jesby starts to cry. But then we see goblins lurking in the trees. Our hero and Glenda draw their weapons, but suddenly the men from the village emerge from hiding in the trees. Scene change. The leader says that if he hadn't made the decision to send the non-workers to find a new home, they wouldn't have had enough food for everyone in the village. He says no one will understand the difficult choice he had to make. At that moment, Keita looks up and sees goblins in the trees. Realizing they're very strong, he tells Yuka to run with the children and the elderly, because they'll cover them. Kusue and Lu then come up with a strategy to take down the goblins. Kusu blocks the hits with her shield, while Lu takes them out with her sword. With this strategy, they manage to defeat several. After this, a goblin surprises Lu from behind, but at that moment, everything freezes because she leveled up. The Game Master appears and spins the wheel for her new class. We see she gets the role of Elite Swordswoman, which is one of the most advanced roles. Time returns to normal, and Keita and Kusue are shocked to see Lu easily taking out goblins with her new class. A monster then appears in front of Yuka and the others, but Glenda arrives and kills it with her axe. We see there with Dan, Frog's brother. Jesby is happy her friend was able to find his brother. They explain that these are the people who left Zagro village on the journey of hope. The heroes decide to spend the night in their settlement of huts. The men there are cold towards the leader, since he's the one who sent them on the journey, thinking they were a burden. Dan tells them how he's survived all this time by hunting animals. He then mentions that since they can't go back to the destroyed village, the best plan is to find the town of New Eden. However, it's believed that place no longer exists. Plus, to get there, they'd have to pass through a settlement with about 30 goblins. The next day, everyone continues on their way, but Lu notices the village men are quieter. It's because during the night, they heard the same roar from the dragon that destroyed Zagro. Seeing how tired they are, they decide to stop for the day and continue in the morning. However, our hero and the others plan to use the night to surprise the goblins. They decide it'll be our hero and Keita. When they get to the monster settlement, he manages to kill one and comments that the others are probably sleeping in their nests. But when they check inside, they're not there. The goblins then ambush them. In a scene change, Glenda is telling her story to Kusu. She says her father was an ex-military guy traumatized by war. He would show her photos from the battlefield of soldiers and people in really tough situations. One day, she decided to tell him she'd never have kids because she's a lesbian. Hearing this, her father did not take it well and immediately pointed his rifle at her, like some kind of unhinged character. For that reason, Glenda decided to run away from home and start traveling the world. Just then, a frantic Yuka appears and takes them to the riverbank to show them that while she was on patrol, she found the leader, dead from a stab to the heart. Afterward, Glenda goes to question the village men, since they held a grudge against the leader and had a motive to kill him. They admit they were angry with him, but say they would never be capable of murder. Following this, we see that our hero, Lu, and Keita have managed to wipe out almost all the goblins, as the survivors fled in fear. Our hero says the place is now safe to bring the others. Later, the villagers arrive at the settlement, happy to have a much better place to rest. Glenda then gathers everyone around a campfire to announce she's figured out who killed the leader. She explains it was the village cook because he gave himself away when he mentioned the leader had been stabbed, even though no one had told him how he died yet. Next, they tie him up and take him to a hut while they decide what to do with him. Our hero suggests just leaving him there because they can't keep wasting time. While they're deciding the cook's fate, they see the granddaughter go into the hut where he's sleeping. Keita quickly rushes over to see what she's planning. When he gets there, he discovers the girl has been infected by the same parasite that killed Jesby's dad. She lunges at his neck and starts to choke him. Our hero pulls out his knife and says he'll handle these cases where they have to eliminate someone they know. Keita manages to push the girl off, but when she's about to attack again, he cuts her head off with his spear. The heroes are stunned, and Keita is crying because he was the closest to the girl. Later, they are burning the body along with the wireworms in a bonfire, while Keita stands apart, looking very sad. The next day, they're placing flowers on her grave. One of the elders comments that he's been feeling unwell since they arrived at this settlement. Frog says they've been feeling really bad too. Frog then talks to the heroes and tells them his whole group feels exhausted in this place. Our hero thinks it's probably because Dragon Bishop must be somewhere nearby, using the same spell he used on Gifon Island. We then see Keita is still sad about the girl's death. Lu goes to cheer him up, telling him he needs to focus on surviving first, as he has to get back to the real world, alive and protect his younger brother. Just at that moment, they're invaded by monsters of all kinds. Our hero orders everyone to get the children and the elderly out of there. He then goes to fight a wolf, but dies quickly. While waiting to revive, he thinks that these monsters are getting stronger every time. As the children are fleeing, they cross a log, and Jesby's little brother falls. Kusu tells Yuka to go get him while she stays to fight a goblin. When she picks him up, she sees the boy hit his forehead hard. The goblin then jumps on Kusu, who uses the same technique she used when she killed her first monster, pulling out her longsword just as the monster gets close and stabbing it through the chest. After this, we see them fighting a wolf. Our hero appears from behind and hits it with a mace. Lu then cuts its head off, and Keita kills another monster, finally finishing them all off. However, a troll appears and crushes Lu, then starts to eat her. Kusu runs to attack it, but it grabs her and eats her too. The troll quickly flees after being hit by a blast of wind and leaves. We see that it was Commander Cantil who did it. Later, the heroes are talking with him, and our hero tells him it's been 17 years since they last saw each other. After this, the commander explains that after the battle with the orcs, he was shipwrecked and adrift, but was rescued by the great sorceress Fatina. Yuka mentions she knows this sorceress, as she was the one who saved her when she was walking through the blizzard. Later, Cantil says Fatina sent him there to kill another dragon bishop, who is clearly in the area. He explains to the heroes that if any bishop summons the giant dragon, it could literally mean the end of the world. He then tells them that a few days ago, a meteorite with a very powerful stone crashed, making the monsters stronger. However, to counteract its power, they must plant a seed from a special plant he brought. Then, in a scene change, our hero is making them grow with his biomagic. By accident, he makes the plant grow too big, and it sprouts some edible fruits. After this, our hero, Keita, and Yuka decide to go find the troll that ate Lu and Kusue, as they need to destroy it so the girls can revive. They find it, and Keita runs to stab it with his spear, but gets crushed. After that, our hero tries to hit it with his mace, but the troll dodges. He notes that it's faster than before because of the meteorite. Yuka then shoots an arrow into its eye. Seeing this, our hero tells her to aim for the other eye to blind it. However, as she's shooting arrows, the troll crushes her and she dies on the spot. It then jumps towards our hero, and just when he thinks it's all over, Keita kills it by stabbing his spear into its head. He then cuts open its body, and Lu and Kusue are able to revive. Lu makes a disappointed face and says, "This is the second time she's been eaten by a troll." Scene change. The heroes arrive at a waterfall and find the magic meteorite embedded in the rock. Our hero mentions that New Eden, the place the people of Zagroth have been searching for years, might be up there. An idea strikes him, and he asks Keita for one of the seeds Commander Cantil had given him. Our hero then makes the plant grow with his magic, just like the other one. He starts climbing it like in Jack and the Beanstalk to reach the top of the waterfall. After a lot of effort, they make it to the top, but there's absolutely nothing there. Our hero looks down and jumps off the waterfall. When he hits the bottom, he realizes the water current has changed. He surfaces in a river and finds a city. We see happy people and children playing. They tell our hero it's been a long time since an outsider arrived and mention that many generations have lived there. But then a question pops into our hero's head, and he asks if this is New Eden. They reply that the city doesn't have a name, since it's the only one for miles and is hidden, so they don't need one. They approach an old man who tells them he arrived in the city the same way our hero did, by going under the waterfall. He says he used to live in a village called Zagrod. Hearing this, our hero is stunned and thinks he must bring the survivors of Zagroth to live in this city. In the next scene, we see that Jesby's little brother can talk again. However, he doesn't remember his sister's name or anything that's happened since his mom died in the village. We can assume this is because of the hard hit he took when he fell off the log. As the boy says, he's never had a sister. As Jesby begs him to remember her, her eyes flash red for a moment. Glenda enters the hut and realizes what's happening. She tells Jesby to stop pretending because she's a dragon bishop. In a scene change, we see the sorceress Fatina, explaining that in ancient times, there were 5 dragons, and one of them was sent to the sky by an explosion, where it still sleeps. She comments that the magic meteorite might be a fragment of this dragon, and that this fragment will speed up the end of the world. We switch scenes again, and Glenda asks Jesby why she put a wireworm on the leader's granddaughter, since she was the last one with her right before she was infected. She accuses her, saying she did it, just like she did to her father. Hearing this, Jesby asks for proof of what she's saying, since it's a pretty heavy accusation. Glenda continues, saying that when they went to get water from the stream, she was never afraid of monsters that might appear from the forest. Also, when they were leaving the cave, Jesby went ahead to the village alone, saying she was just going to scout. But in reality, she used a spell to implant memories in the villagers. We see Frog is shocked by all this. Glenda explains that when Dan first arrived, he didn't recognize him, even though they were supposedly from the same village. So, she quickly used her spell to implant memories in him. However, the little boy was the only one the magic didn't affect because of his mental state. But that's not all. She also bewitched the elders in the settlement, manipulating them into killing the village leader. She had to beg them to do it, since her spell can't completely convince people. After this, Glenda takes out her axe and tells her to show her true self. When she attacks, the hero is surprised to see Jesby dodge with incredible skill. The girl then admits that Glenda is very smart, to which she replies that she's just untrusting due to a difficult childhood. But at that moment, her appearance changes, and dragon bishop marks appear on her face. She then calls her dragon. They realize the roars they've been hearing all these days were from the flying monster. The girl continues to confess that she had the village leader killed because one day he spoke to her and said he didn't remember seeing her before. Since there was a small flaw in her spell, she had to get rid of him. She also put a parasite on the granddaughter because she saw her flying on her dragon. She says she got rid of the other man the same way, by making him believe she was his daughter. After a few days of living together, he started to suspect something was off, so she decided to use a wireworm. She confesses she used the heroes to help with her plan. She then mentions she sent the monsters to attack Zagro village because she needed human lives to complete the blood ritual. At that moment, Frog asks what she did to his mother, and she replies that she obviously killed her. Since she was trapped under the rubble, she begged for help, but Jesby simply decided to leave her to die. Hearing this, Frog tries to attack her, but she raises her staff to cast a spell. Just then, Commander Cantil appears and shoots her first. Jesby then flies away on the dragon, and as she flees, she mocks the commander for being a low-rank sorcerer who didn't even realize she was a dragon bishop. In a scene change, we see our hero coming out of the waterfall. He tells the other heroes everything he experienced and remembers when the village leader said only he was willing to die to enter New Eden. We now get that by die. He meant falling from the waterfall because it's so dangerous. Just then, Jesby arrives and lands on the meteorite. Glenda also shows up with Commander Cantil and tells them Jesby is a bishop. She then casts a spell, and at that moment, monsters of all kinds appear. The heroes get ready to fight, but they realize the monsters aren't coming for them. They're heading for the waterfall, looking for the hidden city. The heroes start to fight, but the monsters are stronger than before because of the meteorite stone. Jesby starts laughing because, thanks to this rock, the great dragon will finally awaken. Cantil spots the mark she's using for the spell, but Jesby notices and quickly launches an attack. Our hero tries to heal him, but he tells him not to worry and to destroy the stone monsters that have the magic circle mark. He orders the other heroes to attack while he goes after Jesby. Reaching the rock where she is, our hero takes her by surprise and kicks her staff. However, She protects herself with an energy field that blocks his attacks. At that moment, we see a red, snake-like monster spitting a toxic liquid into the waterfall. After this, our hero manages to land a small cut on her, and she just laughs at him. Despite all his attacks, he barely scratched her. However, he slips a seed into the wound and uses his biomagic to make it grow. He then grabs the girl, and they jump down. Cantil yells at the other heroes to take advantage of the monsters losing their power and finish them off. They start erasing all the marks on the stone monsters. Keita kills the red giant by stabbing his spear through its head. We see that our hero faints from the effort. Cantil thanks the heroes again for saving his life once more. Later, in a scene change, our hero wakes up and, seeing Jesby is still alive, goes to finish her off. However, Kusue hugs him and begs him not to. Glenda tells our hero it's better to let the people of this world solve their own problems. Later, Frog approaches Jesby and asks if she only altered his memories, because during the time they spent together, he fell for her. Hearing this, Jesby laughs and says she only loves her god, the Great Dragon. She then uses her magic to set herself on fire. The sorceress Fatina appears, riding her owl, and destroys the meteorite rock. She feels embarrassed for arriving so late to the party. After this, we see that in the crater where the meteorite was, lies the city they've been searching for. Finally, the villagers are happy to have reached the promised land. Our hero suggests that since the city doesn't have a name, they should call it Zagroth, just like their old village. Later, the heroes meet with the game master. Since they completed the mission, he tells them Glenda gets to ask a question as a reward. After thinking, she asks how the Great Dragon will get to the real world. The game master replies that there's a small hole connecting both worlds that's slowly opening until it's big enough for it to pass through. Then, in a scene change, they're back in the real world. Keita excitedly goes to visit our hero, but is disappointed because he's just as cold in this world. Later, we see Lu, Yuka, and Kusue together, watching the short film they made. Yuka and Kusu tell Lu that both she and our hero were amazing in the movie. She then says she forgot to send him the photo from the trip. Keita is at his job, looking at the beach photos, and his boss scolds him to get back to work. He thinks about the girl who died and says that in the other world, everyone calls them heroes, but here, they're just another face in the crowd. After this, we see our hero in his room. While he's looking out from the balcony, the game master appears in the little girl's body. She asks if he still hates this city. He replies that yes, he does, and that he still doesn't know the value of life. However, he knows there are billions of people living on this planet, and sacrifices are made every day to save them. He remembers all the adventures he had in the other world and says that whether he likes it or not, his mission is to protect 1,000,000 lives. And that's how the anime ends. If you made it this far in the video, don't forget to comment the secret word, which will be Goblin. And don't forget to leave your like, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, which is super important. Also, if you want a shout out in one of the videos, or want to recommend an anime for me to recap next, follow me on Instagram. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment, as I'll be giving shoutouts to all my followers there soon. And with nothing more to say, Pina Colaza signs off.